Let me just...
I hear you. No problem.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Blood on the Razor Wire TV. We got your favorite convict from Convict Inc, Rob Rosso. Many of you know that he's back in jail, but we got him on the phone. Rob, what's up, man? How are you?
I'm doing as well as I can in this situation that I'm in. But yeah, I'm doing good, Chad. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, I definitely hope that you're doing all right. This isn't like the average interview that we're going to do. I mean, a lot of people want to know what's going on with you. They know that you had put up that live just before you were arrested, and people had made comments. I know the volume was out for like 15 minutes. You were talking and no one could hear you. Like, what was going on?
God.
What was going on that night, man?
That night specifically?
Yeah.
Okay, so do you want the lead up to it? Would that be to put context to it? Would that be better?
I think people know kind of what the context is, and I'm going to get into more of the jail stuff here in a minute, but just kind of want to know what you were going through that night.
So that particular night, what was happening was I had to come in back to Arkansas, and I knew I was going to face arrest and turn myself in. And one of the things that was, of course, so for 2 days I was trying to get home from New Mexico. The car kept breaking down. There was money issues. It was a nightmare, right? So I knew that I was going to have to go in, and one of the things was I wanted to do a YouTube video before I turned myself in, just to kind of let people know what was happening. I had so many people reaching out to me for the months following because I only did a couple of videos, and that was kind of like my goal. And maybe some little context, maybe to my wife, to the parole department, to the judge, what was going on, the clouded thinking, but I don't really regret it. I didn't know that there was no volume, to be honest. You're the first to tell me this. I know that I didn't ask for it to be taken down. I think that my wife did later. Yeah.
So let's talk about this though, Rob, because
go for it.
Because you called me and you said, "Look, man, I'm going to be going live. You probably want to, see this." And then you're like, "Hold on, man. I think the police are here." And then we hung up, and then I never heard from you again. So were you arrested that evening?
No, but so one of the issues was that wasn't like me tripping. So there was, and I wasn't sure at that time if the probation department had. Oh no, Chad, I know what happened. When I called you, there was a whole bunch of cops that hit that store, and what it was is there was somebody in the bathroom, I guess, that was on the run. So that was absolutely had nothing to do with me. Nothing whatsoever. I remember that now, perfectly clear.
So when
I
you
also wasn't sure.
When you see the cops run in on this cat in the bathroom, are you thinking like, "Damn, he's on the run. It could be you because you're on the run too. They could be running in a bathroom on you."
So technically, I wasn't on the run. I left the state and I missed a drug test. Right? Yeah. That was never intentional. Leaving the state is definitely a violation. That's definitely one of the things I'm going to get booked for. Now, my intent was never to leave and miss a drug test. That all happened afterwards. The car breaking, the money issued, not getting home. But I was in contact with my probation officer the entire time. Like, it wasn't a run of scout. Like, I called him constantly. But I thought at one point, maybe because he was getting frustrated, he's just like, "You need to get back in the county and you need to call me as soon as you get here." So I tell him where I'm at, and I also put a tracker on my foot. So he was able to see where I was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was able to let him see. So I thought maybe they just said, "Okay, screw this. Maybe he's procrastinating. Maybe he's lying." So I had a legitimate concern, but he didn't. He knew I was coming. And at all times, I've never ever had rabbit in my blood. Ever. Like, when I used to go to outside medical appointments in prison for the bladder cancer, I have recurring bladder cancer. Like, I could have drove myself.
Yeah.
No bull. So it was never about that. Yeah, but go ahead. I hope that.
So where do you end up getting arrested at exactly, Rob?
I turned myself in. I drove straight to the place that I was supposed to, which was the courthouse in Fayetteville, Arkansas. So there's a drug program there. Do you know what Focus Court is?
Yes, of course.
Okay, so MRT is before Focus Court for the feds. So they were trying to get me to start that program before a revocation hearing, the probation department, and it was it's like Thursday at 2:00. So I was told to be 1:30. I was told to make sure I was there at 1:30, fully knowing I was going to be arrested. So once I left, and missed my urine test. I knew for sure. Like I walked in, I took my belt off before I left. I parked the car. I walked in fully knowing that I was going to be put in custody, like that it really probably wasn't going to be drug court, that it was just, they wanted me to turn myself in. And that's what happened. And I did. Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
Do they handcuff you?
No, not in the beginning. So I walked in. Well, I'll be honest. So as soon as I get into Fayetteville, I did have a tall can of Mike's alcohol in my car. I knew I was going to be in custody. I was starting to get real nervous. Everything's hitting me like, oh my God, this is real. And you're going to go to jail, and it could be for months to years, a couple. And I had to I downed the tall can before I walked right outside the courthouse. My PO, they're like windows they can look down, I think,
Yeah.
I did that. I walked in. As soon as I walked in, it's the bottom floor. This is in Fayetteville, Arkansas. There was the marshals. Marshals are really professional, solid people, right? I walked in and I said I had to go upstairs for the MRT class, but I said, more than likely, you guys have my name, and I'm going to be arrested here. They asked me my name, and I told them, and they kind of smiled, and they said, okay, third floor. And I said, can I use the bathroom down here? I walked, and I got sick. I was nervous, So then I go upstairs. My PO was there. He is actually from Sebastian County, which is an hour away. And he was here, and walked upstairs. A couple of them smelled alcohol, and they asked about the drug test, and I wasn't even thinking drug test. And I said, there's no need. I'll tell you what's in my system, not a problem. And I said, so I'm figuring I'm going to get arrested right now. And they were professional, no handcuffs. I walked in. He went over some things, asked me what I had in my system. I told him everything. He made a little report of it. And he goes, you're right. We have a warrant because you left the jurisdiction. I said, okay. And the marshals walked in. Totally cool, totally professional, no handcuffs. The one they put me in the elevator and walked me downstairs, of course they did,
Yeah.
But that's great guys, totally professional. As nice as can be.
Let me ask you this, though. They put them handcuffs on you. What's it feel like, Rob? All these, you had a life sentence, you get out.
Jesus Christ.
When they put the bracelets on, what's it feel like, man?
Okay. To be honest, right before I went in, I kind of numbed myself, okay, with the alcohol, so there was a belief that I had taken too much narcotics. So I started to get a little incoherent. I was going in and out. So that wasn't the point. The handcuffs were kind of expected. I was, some would say, losing consciousness. With fentanyl in my system, that's what some would say. Came in and they put me in the booking. I went into the detox area. The first time I've ever been in detox in my life, and especially in a correctional or a jail environment. And it wasn't then. So I remember them kept saying, Mr. Rosso, are you okay? They put me in a work release pod, actually. I slept. They woke me up, put me in a regular jail. And it was about the third or fourth day. I got up and ate, but I was out. I slept for the first 4 or 5 days. And it was on that day when I woke up, and it was like, oh my God, I'm back incarcerated. That's when the reality really hit me. And I'm going to tell you something else. And I don't care really what people think here. So the last time I said a prayer was January the 17th, 1998. I was born and raised Catholic. My background, went to Catholic school as a kid. When I got sentenced on January the 17th, 1998, I didn't get sentenced. I'm sorry. When I got sentenced, he had a life in prison. I had a little Gideon's Pocket Bible. I put it down and I never said a prayer again. When I woke up in here, and it was instinctual. It was like the first thing I said was like, God help me. Help me. I can't do this by myself. And I closed my eyes. I woke back up, and here's a chaplain asking if I want a Bible. And it was like I looked, and I'm just like, wow. And they're like, Rosso, you got court. It was when I was going to be notified, arraigned to the charges. I walked downstairs. The marshals, same marshals, one of the marshals that arrested me was there. I go inside the holding cell by myself, and they're like, okay, you can go for a detention hearing, blah, blah. And they're telling me, and I'm thinking, I'm not going to get out. And they're like, no, she lets a lot of people out. They're really, in this area, Chad, they're really criminal justice reform minded. So people with addiction issues that don't commit new crimes, they're really trying to help. Okay. A marshal came to me. He's probably about my age, and they knew that I had a life sentence prior, right? They knew that I had been out 2 years, and the last year I screwed up. All the marshals do they know my story at the probation department. And the guy looked at me and he says, I know I can help you. And I look at him and he goes, Robert, let God help you. And I was like blown away by it, and I'm not trying to sit here and say that I'm a holy roller going to church. I'm just trying to say something has happened since I've been in here as far as that goes.
So Rob,
and it's like,
listen,
yeah.
Let me ask you this, right? Because I speculated. I went on Jeff Nadeau's show and we talked a little bit about you, nothing bad. And I said, they asked me, what do you think, is going to happen with Rob? I said, he's probably going to get a 2-year violation. That's what I think. I could be wrong. I mean, what do you think is going to happen? Has there been any offers, any talk, anything like that?
No. Straight up, here's what happened. So December when I was in rehab, as a matter of fact, I think the date was December the 13th. I was journaling every day back then when I went to rehab because of dirty urines, okay?
Yeah.
Or dirty or altered, okay? There's 10 of them actually altogether, or 9 or 10 in a year period. So what happened was I was told, if you screw up again by a government official, I'm not going to say that if you screw up again that you'll get X amount of time. I don't want to say it. I've actually written a letter. I'm sending it to you to say it, and we'll see what happens afterwards, okay?
Yeah.
But here's what happened. I went to a detention hearing, believe it or not. I had a chance to get out.
Yeah.
If on Tuesday, this Tuesday, the 23rd, I think it is, I have a bed space waiting for me in rehab. They let me go to rehab prior to my hearing. Let me back up. If I would have had a bed space available last week at the detention hearing, she was going to let me out, the magistrate. The reason I didn't get out, 2 reasons. Number one, and the main one was I had fentanyl in my system when I came in. And that's a danger to myself and the community. Number two is I did leave the state, and she did make that comment, and she didn't want me alone down in Hartford, which is a place that I have a house that is known for where I go drink or I have done things. Okay.
Yeah.
So she was concerned about that. My wife and I are married still. Hopefully I can work that out. We'll see what happens. But I was not going to live with her. That's not on the agenda right now. I have too much making up to do no matter what happens. So to answer your question, this is what happened. I know I'm going a long way, Chad. I'm sorry. What happened is this. I was at the detention hearing. The magistrate took 20 minutes to make her decision on whether she was going to let me out. The prosecutor, or the assistant United States attorney, when he was making his case, the probationist case to keep me incarcerated, he acknowledged my sentence was unjust. For the first time in my life, a government official has acknowledged that my sentence was a miscarriage of justice or an unjust sentence. When he said that, Chad, he wasn't talking to me. He was talking to the magistrate, making a point let's not feel sorry about what happened in the past. This is what's happening now. Yeah. But what I heard was a government official acknowledge what happened, okay? So during the recess, I look at him and I say, excuse me, sir, I want to thank you for the first time in my life having said that. Dude, I teared up. If she could have came back and said you get 10 years in jail tomorrow, I wouldn't have cared. When you hear that, that's profound, man. That's something I've been wanting to hear all my life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I thanked him, and he kind of well, we're not here for that. And I go, no, nevertheless, you don't understand what that just meant to me. So after the hearing, he comes back and he tells me and my attorney, he says, Mr. Rosso, I just want you guys to know what to expect on June the 14th. I have no problem with you going to focus court or rehab. I don't care if you go to jail. I'm going to leave it up to the judge. So I went a long way in answering your question. This is what I don't know. Will the judge take the prosecutor's words in? Does he have? I don't know. I don't believe he has anything set in stone. That's not him. I don't know, Chad.
So the focus. It seems like the focus is going to be, look, man, you got out here. You did some things you shouldn't have done. You were doing all right for a while, and you got an addiction issue. And usually the courts aren't banging you when you got an addiction issue. Sometimes they really do want to help you, right?
Oh, no, no, no. Listen, these people up here in the Western District of Arkansas, I am telling you right now, they are not trying to incarcerate people for addiction issues. Now, that doesn't, and I don't believe people should be. That's my own personal beliefs. Now, I'd never thought, but I did leave the state. So I can't just cry, and that was addiction related for sure. And I never tried to, it was never a point to where I was trying to leave or abscond. However, it's still a violation.
Yeah, you got a technical violation that ain't. I mean, it ain't. I don't know where you're at on the chart, but I'm sure it's probably anywhere between 12 and 18 months, right?
So I think it's 8 and 14 as far as the guidelines, and the statute is anywhere from 2 to 5, I believe. So there's a statute, you know that. Yeah. So I it's in his hands, and whatever happens, happens. Now, I was not going to ask him. So May the 23rd is next week. When I originally found out I couldn't get out in an earlier bed spot, I just told my attorney, I got a fireball of an attorney, by the way. Anyway, I told her, look, I'm just going to stay in because I don't want to lose the jail time credit. Yeah. But now that I've got, today is so I've got 17 days clean today, right? So what I'm thinking now is I really need to go to rehab. If that's offer still available, the reason I want to go is because I need to work on emotional responses and triggers. I can do that it's a 28-day program, and there's 2 counselors down there that like had a great impact on me. And for 14 days, I can really get that, especially in 21 days. I need to work on that because prison's saturated with dope. No matter what happens, prison's saturated with dope. And I want to be able to deal with my emotional, and I say emotional responses, and it's primarily with me and my wife. Like I'm an emotional child. That's my biggest problem. I don't know how to respond properly in a normal relationship. I respond like this gets me kind of like.
Let me ask you this, right? Because we talked plenty of times when you were struggling, going through things. You called me. I've talked to you. I've scolded you. I've given you advice. I've tried to get you to do the right thing. I mean, I don't know if anyone else has, but I actually sent you some money yesterday to try to help you out. And there's some other people that are asking your address, which I'll post on the video. Anybody that wants to help Rob out. But Rob, man, you had a life sentence, bro. You came out here with a life sentence. You get out of prison, and really, man, you blow it, right? I mean, let's call it what it is.
Absolutely.
You blow it.
No.
What do you
yes.
What do you regret most, man?
Oh my God. So, Chad, this is deeper than that. I don't know a person in this world, and let me be very clear, that has had as many chances and opportunities in life as I had. And we're talking about going to childhood. I'm not from a wealthy family. I was from a middle-class family, maybe upper middle-class income. Grew up in a lower middle-class neighborhood, but my dad was a very prominent figure in the labor union. I was kind of like a little prince, to say it. I hate to say it, spoiled, whatever. My life was handed to me on a silver platter. They knew what I was going to be when I was like 13. I screwed it up, dealing drugs. I had big attorneys. They got me low sentences, not from anything other than whatever, having good attorneys. And I'd screwed up doing drugs. I'd used drugs, and I got a 4-year violation. Came to Arkansas. Every time I screwed up, there was an opportunity that presented itself, including after I got life, when I became a writer, and then I get out of prison, and I blow it again. Bro, listen to me. I don't know. The only thing I can say is like I'm broken somewhere. It's not fully all the time. I did not ever expect to even use when I got out. The drinking, the one beer, the couple of beers, whatever I did, and then eventually a pill when I hurt my knee by a family member, a little puff of a pipe for the first time that I never thought I would ever think about speed in my life. And then, of course, later on and now and lately, the fentanyl. I never, ever could imagine this. So what you're asking me is like, how do I feel? I saw somebody on YouTube make a comment like, I don't have any sympathy. Look at this guy's been given a second chance. I get it. I don't have an answer. And I'm going to go back and say something about Robert Downey Jr. I was watching some videos. I remember in the 90s, this guy blew it like 5 times, right? And he's in front of the judge. And he's like, I do not know what would... nothing stops me. The fear of incarceration, the fear of embarrassment. I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah.
I agree with him. I cannot tell you what happens. And as far as the addiction issue goes, this is what I have come to believe. And let me say this, and people can laugh or whatever. In the last 2 months when I drink or I get high, and it's not daily, but the drugs are not daily. It wasn't daily, but there was daily drinking if not. And it doesn't mean if it was a tall can or 10, okay? So it didn't stop. I believe that when you first use, there's a choice. For example, I went to rehab. I did 51 days clean. It took me 4 hours to drink. 4 hours I talked to a bottle. 4 hours I stared before I took the drink, okay? I had a choice. Should I call the sponsor? Should I have done this? Should I have called you? Whatever. 4 hours. 4 hours I talked to that bottle, and I knew what was going to happen. It was going to get worse. I had a choice. After that, I don't really think I had a choice. I don't think, and I'm not trying to make up excuses. I'm not a victim. I don't know. I wish I did, because I'm going to tell you.
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you this. You want me to jump on StreamYard right now? You want to do this live?
I don't know if I don't really. I think probably. No, probably not, because I don't know. I don't know the rule. Like, I don't know what
Okay.
I don't know if they're going to stop. I don't know.
No, you're fine. Don't worry about it. We're good.
No, because I don't know if they'll come and say stop, or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I asked. I looked at the rules. I looked at all the rules, and then I inquired about it. So I don't know that
That's all good, man. It's all good. I understand. So
I don't want to get in no trouble. Like, I'm not trying to lose my phone privilege. Me and Marta are actually communicating right now. That's
well, let's talk a little bit about that, because I mean, on your YouTube channel, you introduced your wife, you introduced your relationship.
Yes.
She was on there. You guys spoke. I mean, you got like, I don't know how many subscribers you had, over 10,000, right? People are tuning in. They want to know what's going on with Rob. They're intertwined kind of in your life and what you've done in prison.
Yes.
What's the relationship like? Because I asked you what you regretted, right? Do you regret hurting Marta?
Yep. Do I regret what?
Regret hurting your wife. I mean, that's probably obvious, right? But I want to hear it from you. Okay, I mean, I know that you do.
So here's what's going on. Okay, so I met a girl that I can honestly say that I have never left somebody in my life, and that's not me trying to kiss her ass right now or nothing like that. But one of the problems is I don't know how to love properly, especially in a relationship with a normal person. She's never done drugs. She's not that. Nothing. Okay, so I've never been in a relationship with somebody who doesn't identify with me. That is an addict / criminal thinker or whatever in the past. You know what I mean? A normal person. So I hid anytime I used. She didn't have a clue until December the 4th that I had used any drugs. She saw me drinking. She knew something was wrong, and it devastated her because her background is psychology. Now, that hurt her a lot. When I went into the Harbor House, she's never really got over that, and the trust is lacking. And then there's the financial issues too, because I started gambling and I blew a lot of money gambling. So okay, let me say this too. I took a person who had the best spirit that I've ever seen, and I broke a spirit. I broke that girl's spirit so much, and it kills me. And when I look at her, especially after I relapsed and started using it again, it's like I couldn't face her sometimes, because I looked and I saw what I'd done, and that made me like get an excuse to drink or do drugs. Yeah. So what do I regret? I don't regret us ever meeting. She's the best thing that ever happened to me in that aspect. I regret that I've hurt her, and she's alone in a different country, just people, but she's doing well as far as her work, but she's traumatized by this. Traumatized. Today I talked to her, and she was telling me she's going to take the YouTube channel down. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Hold on one second. Oh, God, thank you. Okay. Oh, thanks. Okay. So, I'm sorry.
She's talking about taking the YouTube channel down and all of that, right?
She wants to. I told her, look, no. The problem with YouTube is I never actually looked at it as, I never treated it like a business. It was shoot from the hip. It was whatever. Then it became drama boy with all the other stuff, fighting with all the other people.
Yeah, let's talk about that, Rob, for a quick couple seconds here, right?
Yes.
I mean, there's people that have made comments. People don't know that me and you, we actually have a friendship. It's not just, hey, I met you on YouTube and, hey, what's up, man? Hell yeah, it's Rob. And if I can make some content, let's make it about Rob. But anyway, there are some people that are happy that they feel like you failed. You know what I mean? You talk some shit. You shot at some people. They shot back at you. And then in the end, they're like, well, he's back in jail and I'm out here. So, I mean, how are you embarrassed by that? Are you embarrassed that maybe you failed a little bit?
Because
I'm going somewhere with that, but go ahead.
I wish I would not have punched down. Okay, I wish, so I'm, one of the emotional things, like I said about emotional reactions, I wish I would have not gotten caught in that drama for sure. Okay. I do not really regret the Jimmy thing, I hate to say it, and this is going to piss off probation, because of the way he treated a friend of mine, Tommy Reynolds, you know that. But going after all the rest of them, it was fun because I was having problems within, and that was a way to deflect it. I know that I just found out today certain things that are being said. Like there's like a don't be a Rob thing or something, don't be a robber. I'd head that foundation, by the way. Yeah. I'd take over that, by the way. So I would agree too. It got me off my focus. My focus was this. You have a mission, Chad, that's like you want to help and you want kids to stay away, and you have a sincere mission. The probation department many times has brought you up. You're not Chad Marks. You're glamorizing prison. You're doing this. You're doing that. No, it was always more about, it was not trying to glamorize the prison life. It was just telling it like it is. And in turn, I thought maybe the bigger picture can help with criminal justice reform. Because if I find out and I'm a normal person, that prison's saturated with drugs, I'm going to be pissed. Or that I'm on there saying, yeah, I had a great time for 10 years. I mean, I had a great time because I was numb. You know what I mean? Yeah,
but let me ask you. But let me get back to what I asked you.
Go ahead.
Are you embarrassed that you're back in jail? Like you lost, they won.
So.
And Rob, I'm asking you that because.
For my wife. Listen. I'm embarrassed for my wife. I'm embarrassed for my wife. As for myself, I believe I'm going to persevere, and I think I'm going to come out stronger.
Okay.
I'm not. I can't. I'm an addict. Okay, and this isn't about drugs or alcohol. This is about food. This is about sex. This is about gambling. Primarily gambling, and I would say gambling just is one of the bigger things that's taking me down right now for the ride. I can't be. I'm not going to shy away from my addiction issues. I have lied about it on my channel for sure. But what am I supposed to say when I'm on U.S. probation? So I am sorry to my subs that supported me, that thought sometimes. There was times that people would say, oh, he's on speed. Well, actually, I was on pills. Or he's on pills. No, I was actually on speed. So I have that ADHD thing going. So, but in the end, I was spiraling. It was, the first year wasn't so bad. After my dad died, a lot of things happened after my dad died on January the 1st, 2022. After that happened, I really started spiraling. More drinking,
Rob,
more drugs.
I understand that, and the reason why I asked you if you were embarrassed, because I want to see you succeed. I want that to be one of your motivators, man. That you don't want to embarrass your wife, that you don't want to embarrass yourself, that you don't want to lose. Because the Rob that I know is a winner, man. We can get into the DWB shit and all of that, but you were never a punk. You were never a sucker. You were, you did your thing in jail, and you were a gangster once upon a time. And I thought you came out and you were a gentleman, but you always got that. I tell people you always got that in you. You're a gentleman now. But you know what? If you get sideways, that gangster can come out. The part that people don't understand. And that's not glamorizing. Yeah. Hold on, Rob, because that's not glamorizing prison. It's like, yo, look, I'm respectful. I'm cool. I'm laid back, just doing me. But, I was that dude once upon a time. I'm just saying in general. People can say that about you, about me, about whoever. Yeah. It could be a guy that we don't even know we could be talking about. But you can always be that person if you have to be. But I don't want you to be that dude. I don't want you to be the addict. I want you to get out and succeed, bro. You had a life sentence. Hold on, Rob. I'm almost done. And the one thing that bothers me the most is, and this was the same thing with Ronnie. When I got Ronnie out, was, hey, dude, I mean, Lonnie, you're in there crying. You want to get out. You got life. I win your case in Florida, which is almost impossible. I get you out, and you're back in jail on a brand new meth case, bro, or for beating up your girl or whatever, whatever had happened. And you know what, man, when you have a life sentence, you get a second chance. I just feel like, damn, dude, there's so many people that we left behind that want that opportunity that you had that may not fuck it up, bro. And I'm not harping on you because I care about you, else we wouldn't even be on here. I wouldn't take your calls. I wouldn't accept your email requests. I wouldn't send money. I wouldn't, because I care about you, bro.
Look, what I was gonna say after, I'm really ashamed or embarrassed about Marta is, as I was gonna say, and the people that I left behind, because a lot of guys with life sentences that were even more deserving than me are stuck, and what happens, what I do reflects on them, or it could reflect on them. You know what I mean? 100%. And that bothers me. A lot of them, I've got guys that know that I was starting to spiral and were so mad at me. A lot of them knocked me off quarrelings. I mean, lifers.
Yeah.
And real quick, I want to just say this. I think you heard about Jimmy Dale Martin, right?
No, what happened?
Okay, so I didn't know if Rusty talked. So, I was doing a little legal work in the beginning. I was doing.
Oh no, yeah, I did. Right? Yeah, I did talk to. Okay, yeah, but go ahead.
Okay, so that was the last brief that I worked on was Jimmy Dale Martin, and that was a compassionate release. Now Rusty jumped in with the Samaritan Project, so we're friends, and he jumped in, and he just got a life sentence overturned. So I mean, the magistrates, they're waiting to get out. I think it's a week or two, but I found this out last night. And when I found, I've never been a part of except for me, I helped get myself, I filed my own brief, then the public defender came in. I'm a part of that. Like, he's getting out of prison because of me and Rusty. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was so it's like, I guess I needed something about self-worth, and it was like, oh my God, like I did that, and it was like, it made me feel really, really good. You know that. You got lifers out, man. You get it. And it was, I've never had that feeling,
It
and
is
it made you like, okay, I'm better than this. Like, I'm better. Like, I can do something, But as far as being embarrassed of addiction, I want people to understand that I don't think necessarily that they should be. I'm ashamed that a judge in this district took a chance on me, and I failed him. And I failed my family, and I failed, most importantly, my wife. But there's a little more to it. It's not being able to function in society properly. The anxiety. We're different. You don't have the addict nature that I do, and I'm not trying to play victim. I'm not trying to make up excuses. But I had hard times functioning, the panic attacks and stuff like that. And what happens is, it was like a drink would make it better. And then if I drank too much, then it would lead to something else. Again, not making up excuses, and maybe I'm not answering your question properly. It's just a lot more complex than, are you ashamed of what you did? I'm ashamed that my wife has to be in the situation that she's in, not knowing if the person that she loved, fell in love with, is the guy now or was, or there's a confusion. That kills me. Nobody has loved me more than that girl in my life, with the exception of my mom.
Yeah.
And I've, and so that's what I think about most. The lifers in prison second. I do think about my judge, and I'm not trying to kiss his ass because I'm going to go in front of him, but man, this is a guy that was going to invite me to a steak dinner the first day I popped dirty. They came to tell me that he wanted to talk to me. Okay, he was on board with my criminal justice reform message on my channel. And then I went south, and then I'm sure he got a little, what the hell's he doing? Don't beat Jimmy and this,
Rob, I understand, because like I said, I've said it before, I met with my judge, bro, and I didn't want to embarrass him. And he told me, so I went out on a limb to let you out of jail, man. Do the right thing.
Yeah.
I met with him and my kids and my wife, and, it's just... Man.
You did? Oh, so you got to actually sit down, and like talk to him, and
I was in his chambers. I was in his chambers and with my wife and my kids. So
So you know what? This goes to focus court. So focus court works with the U.S. probation department. It's through the U.S. probation department, right?
Yeah.
And one of the things, and I think that I was going to say is, the last 3 months when I drank and got high, you know what I did at night? I watched freaking addiction videos, bro. I swear to God. It sounds nut and fruity. So I would sit and watch addiction stuff. When I went to the focus court, I went to the first one. They gave me a workbook. That's what I did. I went and read that thing from cover to cover twice. Yeah. There's something in that focus court too. I believe in that program. When I get out, whether that's months or years, I really want to be a part of that. You know why? Because I got to see that judge every 2 weeks. I got to look him in the eye, and he's got to see my progress or not. You know what a big difference that would have made, I do believe? How do you look somebody in the eye who gave you life again and sit there and go back time and time again and say, I fucked up? I think that would make the difference.
Right.
And forget about Robert Rosso. Let's look at other people. I think that focus court stuff, if a judge I think that makes a big difference. I think that'll make a big difference, and I'm hopeful for that for other people as well in the future.
This is the thing, man. You need some help, bro. You know what I mean? You need some help. I'm all the way in New York. You can call me all you want, but, I wasn't there. You need to be accountable, dude, and people do care about you.
Sure.
And I want to see you get out and do the right thing. You went off on the wrong track. You're a writer. I mean, dude, you could do true crime. There's a lot of things that you could have done. It didn't kick off the way that you probably want. You thought it was kicking off for a minute there, and then you got involved in some different things. But let this be a teachable moment, so to speak, right? Our good friend Cedric Dean says what? Let it be a teachable moment. That, what? I think you going to jail, your teachable moment is, you're like, wow. So now, you never want to be back in that position. Now do you appreciate your freedom a little more? Because we talked about this before you went to jail months ago about, hey, dude, appreciate your freedom, because when you lose it, we'll be having this conversation, and here we are.
Yes, you did, and you got hard on me in the last couple conversations. Okay.
To help you, to avoid where we are now.
You did, and my wife reached out to you because she didn't know what to do, and absolutely, you did. I think I was a little bit too far gone, and I think that I'm the person who every time he uses says this is going to be enough, and if it's not going to be enough, I try to go deeper, okay? So I try to up the amount to kill the beast. I call it feeding the beast. There's a term, feed the beast, okay? Give it what it wants, and hopefully it'll be satisfied, and you can move on. Do you know how many times? And another thing is this: I tried to go back to rehab. In March, I told the U.S. I told the appropriate people that I'm spiraling. Okay, I said I needed to go back to the Harbor House, but it wasn't just about that. I wanted to go into transitional living because I needed to prove to my wife that I can do it, and she was having doubts, and she lives 5 minutes away, and I wanted a sweat patch on my arm. Urine tests don't mean much to me when I'm on one. Okay, I'm not going to get into it because my attorney would advise me against it. Urine test. If I call up and there's a urine test tomorrow, I don't care if I get high. I'll get high up till 10 o'clock at night. Okay, and I'm not saying every time. I'm saying it.
Well, listen, man, that's all stuff that dudes were doing in prison. I know what it is. I know, you know what I mean. I know
exactly.
What it is.
Okay, exactly. So you know what? So a sweat patch. I asked them for. It started in April of last year, and I asked them for a sweat patch. I'm not blaming them, so I don't want to sound again like blame. I just was wanting the sweat patch because I cannot see a scenario in which I would knowingly and intentionally either drink or do a drug with a sweat patch on my arm. You can't beat them. You can't. So that's what I was hoping for because I needed that. I needed that guidance. I needed that block.
Yeah.
They didn't want to put a sweat patch for their own reasons. And again, this is not blaming anybody in the probation department. I don't want it to sound like that. These are just things that I knew. My
Rob,
point being this.
Listen to me. Let me tell you something because my phone is on like 3%. I didn't know that we were going to be on the phone. It was supposed to be a Zoom call. They couldn't figure it out. So I didn't have my phone charged. This phone is going to die on us. But
sure.
before we go, let me, I don't even know if I should be giving you advice because I've given you plenty of it. I mean, at the end of the day, it's this, Rob, because I'm going to let you say something before we go, but at the end of the day, man, maybe this is what you needed, a wake-up call to say, man, you know what? I really do appreciate my life. You know what? I really do appreciate seeing the green grass. I really do appreciate the other side of the fence, the other side of the razor wire. It's not about, going back and being, everyone's questions are, is Rob in danger if he goes back? Like I answered that question today with Lee Cole. You're not in danger because you're probably going to, when you go back, you're going to an FCI. You're not going around none of the homeboys, no DWBs, none. You're not going around white gang members in prison. I mean, not any that are doing anything probably. You're going to be perfectly fine. It's not about that. It's about Rob living his best life, getting out of prison and saying, you know what? I had life, got a chance, blew it, got another chance. I'm back out here, and now I'm going to be the best version of me. And my advice is learn to look in the mirror and say, I appreciate today. One day at a time, man. So before we get ready to go and my phone dies on us, tell me, what do you want to say to your subscribers, to the people that are out here, to your wife?
Yeah. So to my subscribers, first and foremost, thank you for being there and sticking it out. I know there's a lot of people asking questions, and I do apologize to anybody that feels duped because of that I got on there and said I wasn't using this or using that and playing word games, whatever. And I mean that. To any of yours, I would say that channel's not dead. If you guys will subscribe, it'll pop back up. It's sooner or later. To my wife. I think I don't need to say any more words.
Yeah.
I think I need to prove through my actions.
Okay.
That's what I think I need to say. That's what I think I want to leave it at. Okay.
All right. And I want to ask you this before we go. Tell the people, people have hit me up, hey man, if you know how to send Rob a couple dollars, I'd like to send them. So tell the people how they can send you a couple dollars at that county jail.
Okay. So yes. So this, it can be a little difficult. You can attest to that. Jail, JAILATM.com. Yes, I do need phone money. Yes, I need some basics. So yeah, I do. Also, I do have a Cash App. My wife will deal with it. Right now. Okay, so full disclosure, my wife and I communicate. We've had issues. Okay, I love her. She still loves me. She's waiting to see what happens. She's not going anywhere. People have misconstrued that. So you can send money through Cash App, which is no more prison cell. It's almost crazy, but no more prison cell has been my Cash App since day one. So but jail ATM, if you can navigate the system and take a few extra minutes, that would be more beneficial. It's not going to be spent on Zuzus and Whammo. I do have a bunch. I've got big financial problems, but I don't want to go there right now.
All right, so jailatm.com.
JailatM.com.
And what state?
And it's I'm in Arkansas, Washington County Detention Center. Robert Joseph Rosso, whatever.
Okay.
I think you know how to. I think it's a little bit of a problem yesterday, right?
Yeah, I did it while you were on the phone.
So they make you do they make you set up an account. So anybody, again, I would appreciate that, and I'm thankful. And thanks, Chad. And I will talk to you soon. And I'll be keeping in touch tight with you and Said, because that's where I think I veered off as well. I think when I started not talking to you guys as much, I needed the positive people in my life.
Well,
and
listen, man.
I kind of went down the wrong.
I'm here to help you, man. If you need help, I'm here. Call me. You got my number. I'm going to hang this thing up because it's about to die. So I appreciate you coming on and talking, and I do wish the best for you. And I want to, I want to make sure that you're all right, bro. Anything I can do to help, I'm here. Keep your head up, man. Hang in there. You know what it is. You're going to get through this. You've been through tougher shit. You're going to come out here and be the best version of you. That's what I'm hoping for. All right?
Yeah. Thank you, bro. Okay.
All right, bro.
Take care.
Yep.
Take care, everybody. Thank you. Bye.
Blood on the Razor Wire TV with respect. We're out.